Welcome to Mike's apartment, where we do drunk reviews and have a little bit of comedy along the way. My name is Mike. I am your host. With me is my co-host Thom. Thom, how are you doing?
Apparently not as good as you are because I think you just said where we do drunk reviews.
Well, to each their own. To each their own, friends. Whatever you need
I,
to do to get to that
I'm
level.
not drunk. I'm
Yeah, we're not
I no.
tipsy. Tipsy is always a good word. All right, so
I try to avoid getting drunk anymore. I'm too old for hangovers.
well, there is that. I will say this. So for tonight, we're just gonna do a free for all. We are not going to be rating a drink. As usual, Mike's Apartment's rating scale is 5 is the best, it's the top. It's ambrosia, the best of the best. Zero,
Hmm.
zero is shit. It's the worst. We're actually not rating our drinks, but we could talk about them really quick. I am just having some PBRs here, and I think I have this lone Coors full
Coolers? Oh, okay.
Coors, not Coors Light, but the banquet one. But I think I just have these for tonight. What do
Mm,
you what are you holding, man?
okay. So that little ice sphere thing that was a Death Star. Uh,
Ooh.
it's melted down quite a bit, but so I pre-mixed this. This is a drink that this is like my go-to, like nightcap kind of a drink, whatever. So it's equal parts rum, gin, and brandy. And then when I pour it, I do like so I pre-mix all that together, and then I pour like 6 ounces, and then add 2 ounces of Sprite, and then pour it over some ice, and that's a drink that might last me a couple hours. Um, Plus or
Oh,
minus. It really is a drink you got to sip. I was thinking about it compared to like some of the other drinks we've had on the show, and I was like, I think I actually like the taste of say like Romulan ale more, which that was another mixed drink that we tried. And but the problem with that for me is I drink it too fast. So,
can sneak
so
up
this
on
is a
you.
drink. This is a drink that kind of forces you to slow down. You can't really slam it or whatever. So you just sip
Yeah.
it. It might be good, like if you're out by a fire with a cigar with a couple friends and chatting or whatever. But it's too cold outside right now to be outside.
Sure, understood. So yeah,
Actually, it's 41 today. It was
oh,
warm today.
heat
But
wave, heat
anyways,
wave. Yeah.
woo!
What I will say is this. Yeah. So we're not going to be rating anything tonight. That we're just showing you what we're drinking, how we're having some fun with. The first thing I wanted to, we're going to go really quick, kind of on this one because we've done. Geez, I would say at least 30 minutes of another episode about this whole situation. And that's talking about the DoorDash girl, Olivia Henderson, out in New York. She actually prefers to be called Liv or Livy. Uh, some of the things you can go back and watch our show. You can also watch a lot of other shows. Our update on her is yes, she is being charged with the 2 felonies. And strangely enough, her lawyers have asked for there to be no cameras during court. The judge lifted his eyebrow, lifted his eyebrow, and he just said, no cameras now. So he says, no, we're allowing cameras in the courthouse. The only other issue that I would bring up is this, and this is something I think we should all think about when it comes to a case like this. What if the genders were reversed in this case? What if a male DoorDasher took nude pictures of an unconscious female customer on the couch and then posted it for millions to see? This really does change everyone's perspective and the roles on this. If a man did what DoorDash Girl did, they'd be in jail without a bond. Their entire reputation would be destroyed. They'd for sure be found guilty on these 2 felonies, and they would have done close to the maximum time. There would be no supporters on social media for this guy if he claimed sexual abuse. What do you think, Thom?
So wait, so are there supporters for
Oh yeah.
Liv or whatever her
Oh
name is?
yes, yes. There are a lot of
What are they
supporters.
saying?
Just that she was sexually abused by having to even see it. Mostly is what I've gathered. I mean, I can't sit here and be
So
the
they
apologist
are.
for them, but I
Do you
mean,
know? Are any of them saying that she didn't open the door?
well,
Because
that's the
because
thing.
so just to kind of take a step back, the main issue that we mentioned was she allegedly, which was allegedly also caught on camera
Yep.
from his ring camera.
Yep.
She opened the door and took a picture of this guy who had no clothes on, waist down, and was just sitting. And then she claimed she was sexually assaulted after she opened the door and took a picture, or
And viewed it.
pictures,
Yeah. Video. Not just pictures. Video.
video.
She
Okay,
took TikTok
video of
video of
it,
this event.
and
So
so that's the information that I kind of was going with when we were talking about it before. Uh, was the assumption that was the case. Now, if the role was reversed and it was a man who
sure.
opened the door and took a video,
And did all the same
uh,
things. Yeah. What? What?
so
What?
the
Oh,
exact same scenario, just it was a guy that did it and it was a woman on the couch. Um,
yep.
I don't know.
I'm fairly certain none of these would even be questioned. They wouldn't even question
I
anything.
don't
They'd
know.
just be like,
I don't
he'd
know
be going to
about the
prison.
supporters. I don't know that he'd have the supporters like apparently Liv does. But I think that legally, though, I think the courts might still try to, pursue the evidence. Uh,
Sure.
and I don't think the courts would necessarily give it, any more or less, one way or another as far as the verdict goes, unless if it's trial by jury. The jury can be influenced, I think, by some of those details and personal prejudices, which
And
I
yeah,
don't know.
and
Is
I'm
this
not
going to
sure.
be a jury? Is there going to
That's
be a jury
that's a
on this
good
one? Or?
question. I don't know the answer to that. However, I would say in her best defense, she should go trial by jury because if she went trial by judge, he would just look at the facts and just be like, you're guilty. She has to hope. She has to really, 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 in my opinion, anyways. Not that I'm a lawyer, not that I'm this legal, mastermind or
Yeah,
whatever. I'm just saying she would have a better chance with people who don't know the law and could possibly be sympathetic to her cause. Having a judge
yeah,
just do it, all he or she is going to look at is the law. Boom, boom, boom. Convict her. There wouldn't even be because the thing is this. It's like the key points in the case are not disputed, right? Like there is no
mm,
dispute on like a lot of these things. So I don't know. Anyways, I just wanted to give an update on that. We don't have to spend too
yeah.
much time
No,
on
yeah.
that issue.
I don't. I don't. I guess I think like as far as in the eye of the public, there would be some differences. Of course, toxic masculinity or whatever kind of. I don't. Maybe that would be a thing. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Uh, but I, I honestly, I hope that she. I mean, I'm sure she's going to get a fair trial, and I just hope that things go the way that they should, based on what evidence and such is provided. And I hope that if anybody ever finds that guy in that condition again, they call for help. This guy's like passed out on his couch. He's got no pants on. I don't know if he's okay.
Yeah, that
But
would have been the smarter choice. Just if she was that concerned, call 911, find out what's going on. But there's just
if
taking
you're gonna take
video
a
of
video,
him,
share it with authorities, not
millions of
posting
people,
it on.
and because that was the thing. It's like it's obvious. It's obvious to everyone. She wanted attention. She wanted to
Mm,
make a viral video, and you know what? It's kind of like the what is it? The monkey's paw. What
mm.
you might get more than what you wish for when you something
Yeah.
something happens. All right. So enough about that topic. Tom, you are going to lead us on to our next topic.
Oh
Netflix.
yes.
Netflix's purchase of Warner Brothers or what's the
Yeah. Warner Brothers Discovery. So so Netflix offered, was it like 80 billion or something? I can't remember how much to buy out uh, Warner Brothers Discovery, which includes like HBO, which then of course includes like the DC stuff, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter is a big thing. I everything I read, they mention like, this also includes the purchase of HBO, the Harry Potter. Sometimes they'll mention the Game of Thrones. which there's other shows from the Game of Thrones like the crap. What was the prequel show that they did? Um, I'm sorry, my brain isn't
Oh,
working. I was
something of the dragon, House of the
House of the
Dragon.
Dragon,
Yeah.
House of the Dragon,
Sorry. Look.
which by the way they had Matt Smith from Doctor Who was in that
Oh.
show.
Okay.
I loved him. I love that actor. But anyways, well, I liked him really in Doctor Who because of other stuff. But um, he also plays a good bad guy. Some of that you kind of really like to not like or whatever. But um, so, anyways, and then the other day, I read a brief article that Paramount Plus was offering like I don't remember the exact number, but like $42 a share
Oh wow.
to do a hostile takeover of the Warner Brothers Discovery and buy it out from under Netflix. And I was reading what would it mean if Netflix or Paramount, which whatever, bought out Max or not Max, bought out Warner Brothers, and for like the streaming content, because I was thinking about maybe getting a one of those 1 month trial subscriptions in January for Netflix so I could watch the new season of Stranger Things and just binge it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Excuse me.
if Netflix buys out Warner Brothers, most likely I'll gain access to some of that stuff. Kind of like when Disney bought out, Hulu or whatever.
Sure.
All of that content is available on the Disney Plus app. I mean, you can get a Hulu app as well, but all of it's there. I get a little frustrated because they run ads on anything that's from Hulu, and I'm like, I don't like ads anymore. I pay for YouTube Premium so I don't have to watch ads.
That is the
But
ridiculous point. You know what? That's what I would like to just make a comment here because you know what? If I'm paying you for the service already, why the fuck do I have to watch ads? I shouldn't
yeah,
have to. Or you offer some premium extra $20 on top of what I'm already paying, and you're like, oh, we won't show you ads. You know that is such bullshit. Like
well, that's how
seriously,
they get you. That's how they get. That's how
it's
like
ridiculous.
mobile games get you. It's like you want to keep going. Watch an ad and you can get another life or
But
whatever.
but
It's like,
on
or
that
you can go
point,
you can go ad free.
On that point, though, by the way, this channel, Mike's Apartment, we're very open to ads. We will sell the crap out of any product or service you want us to. You got our business inquiries email. Click on it. Despite what I just
maybe
said, I'm a hypocrite.
may,
I'm a
maybe
hypocrite when
not
it comes to my money. So
maybe
send
not
us.
accommodators. Maybe not accommodators. But that's
Oh,
second choice. But
we'll do.
um,
You know what? You know what? Tom and I will just lay back on our backs and ask for more, sir. No, I'm just kidding. Or our.
but anyways,
Anyways, yeah, yeah.
and then I
We
I
want you.
saw
We want you.
I, I
We
yeah.
want you. Sorry. I got.
So, anyways, back to the
All
to
right,
the
Warner
Netflix
Brothers.
buying
Yeah.
out Warner Brothers. So then, I was either earlier today or maybe it was late yesterday. I saw on my phone I had a notification about like interesting topics I might want to read about, and they mentioned Netflix defending their purchase of Warner Brothers. I was like, wait, are they defending against Paramount Plus's hostile takeover? Well, no, it was just they were just talking about like the key points about why it would be a good purchase. And some of the things they mentioned was growth and synergy.
Oh God, I love that
So
word. What a great corporate word, synergy. We
synergy.
just gotta
So,
synergize. We
but
gotta synergize ourselves to get to that level.
but they mentioned that so like Warner Brothers will bring capabilities that Netflix lacks, avoiding overlap and ensuring growth, not consolidation. So I mean they may be run by the same company, but I mean HBO has like theatrical releases. They have other content that they have a lot of content that's not available on Netflix. So and that was one thing that they mentioned in here was that that Netflix would keep pushing, not pushing, but like keep things on track for like theatrical releases and not inhibit that kind of a thing
Sure.
and then also people are worried about job security. They're committed to job security. Well, I mean that who knows what that's going to look like, but
Yeah.
But anyway, so expanding content and stuff like that. So, uh, you know, oh, I guess it was $82.7 billion is what the deal was valued around.
Ooh,
So, but
that's a
anyways,
that's a pretty chunk of change.
I just closed that
Oh, it's okay.
AI generated content.
How dare
So,
you,
but
Tom?
anyways, I think either way, whether or not Paramount Plus buys it out from under Netflix, or if Netflix gets it, I'm sure that I'll be gaining access to one or the other's content, and they both have stuff that I want to watch. Um,
Sure.
but like I mentioned, Netflix, I think it would be fun. I think Squid Games came out with a second season, and I saw the first season. That was a great show. I don't know. Have you seen that,
No,
Squid
I
Games?
have not. No.
You know, by the way, the funny thing about that show, I saw a comment, or I was watching, it was the Red Letter Media guys. They were doing a commentary on The Acolyte and about the diversity in that show. And
Okay.
then, and then one of the guys is like, you know what show has no diversity in it? Squid Games. They're all like, they're all like Chinese or whatever. It's like, but I
That's
think that
true.
was a Chinese show. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong, but
How
I,
dare you?
uh,
You've offended all 17 of our
I might
subscribers.
be. Yeah,
I'm gonna turn on the computer tomorrow and be zero subs.
just a
10
second, just a second.
10,000 10,000 dislikes.
Is Squid Games a Chinese show? I'm gonna find out for sure.
Oh, wow, thank you.
No,
But
Squid Games is not a Chinese
is
show.
it's a
Dang it!
Korean? Is it
It's a
Korean?
South Korean
South Korean? Yeah,
show.
I thought it was Korean.
I apologize. I apologize.
Well, now you need to
I,
go watch K-pop Demon Hunters as your punishment.
K-pop Demon Hunters.
That's good.
For some
It's
reason, I
actually really
was
good.
thinking of Demon Slayer, which is another show that my kids really
No,
like.
no,
An
no, no,
anime.
no. Watch K-pop Demon
Is
Hunters. It's
that
really
an
good.
anime or is that a live
It
action?
anime, but it's
Okay.
worth it. It's very worth it. All right, we're gonna switch over here. We're gonna talk about dating in the 1990s, early 2000s, compared to dating now, modern dating. Tom, since you have not dated in this era and you only know how to date in the previous one, why don't you start and tell me how dating worked in the 1990s slash 2000s? How was the dating
Well,
world?
I was so no, I was one of those guys that was scared to talk to a pretty girl. So it was a big deal if I ever went up and talked to him. But let's so 90s. I graduated high school in 96. I'm dating myself
Dang,
here.
you old.
Speaking,
I'm just kidding.
dang it. So, but I'm dating myself. That's a different use of the word dating. Uh, but anyways,
We've all been there.
no, and that so I mean I had girlfriends in high school. Some back then it was like passing notes and stuff like that. I remember one time uh, there was a girl who liked me, and her friends called. Well, her friends called me with her in the room. I think she was like, "No, no, no, don't." What? And they called me like, "Would you go out with her?" And I was like, I had a crush on her, so but I thought it was a joke. I thought they were just like
Messing with you.
trolling me or whatever. But but I had a couple girlfriends, in high school, whatever. Nothing real serious, but but it was always like kind of nervous. I'd maybe talk to their friends and like, oh no, no, she really likes you. You should talk to her. And so whatever. So and then I'd get reassurance and talk to her and ask her out. And um, same thing in college. There was a girl I dated that I had a I had another friend who was a girl. She was like we were like best friends from high school, or maybe not best friends, but like really really good friends from high school. And then she told me that, oh no, she likes you. And so then I asked her out. She's like, well, I gotta. This should have been a red flag. She's like, I I can't date you right now because I got to break up with my other boyfriend first.
Seems
and then
suitable. Seems suitable.
then and I was like, okay, well, so then she broke up with him and we dated, and then she broke up with me to date somebody else. Exact same thing. She like was like really like she had a, like was doing stuff with him, but wouldn't
Mm.
officially date him until she broke up with me, and
So when
broke
you
my heart, whatever.
when you say doing stuff with him, what do you mean by that exactly, Tom?
Well, I don't know what all they did. We never really did anything more physical than making out. So, but I don't know if she ever went
Are the,
further with anybody else. I never had. I mean, so I'll just come clean here. I was a virgin, and the only woman I've ever had sex with was my ex-wife. So I didn't do any of that kind of stuff. So fortunately, while I had some emotional baggage or trauma from some of the relationships back then, I didn't have to worry about STDs or getting somebody pregnant or other things that might be more complicated because of sex. But for somebody like me, the sex is a big deal. So um, in a relationship. But anyways, some people, I guess it's not. But um, and then I had a girlfriend in like 2001 that I was pretty serious about, and then she told me once that God told her that because we were good Christians, whatever, and she's like, I don't think God wants me to pursue this relationship anymore. And so then so she broke up with me. Then I moved down to Minneapolis it was right, I moved down right after 9/11. It was September of that
oh,
year. And then I went back up to visit the church youth group that we all had attended because I was really involved with them. And I went up to visit for an event that they had, and she was she was same thing as that girl from college. She was like holding hands with another one of my friends. I was like, what the? And oh no, no, they weren't holding hands. They had just broken up. So she was dating him while and I wasn't even over her, whatever. But so dating for me has been just kind of, you know, that kind of thing, and nothing. I didn't really go out to clubs. I didn't really, whatever. If I
well,
saw like somebody that I liked, and then I found out that they
yeah.
liked me too, whatever. But
So
uh,
let me give you some good news and some bad news because I'll tell you about me a little bit. So from God, uh, geez, 2007 through
mhm.
2016, I had one partner, and she was my wife for 9 years out of that. The other times, um, either we were just living together slash at the end we just were not. I mean, we were married in like technically, but not uh, in terms. Whatever. I will say it was
You were
really.
separated or whatever.
Yeah, we were separated, and but the divorce had not yet gone through. That didn't go through till January of 2017. But long story short, I mean, it was extremely hurtful in a lot of ways. The person I'm talking about, she's a coward, she's a liar, she's a deceiver, she's a person. She's a scumbag. And the thing is this, and I realized I think more and more about it is the biggest reason I stayed with her for so long was because of her family, because of her parents. They were so great. Like they were like the most supportive, kindest, people that you could ever think
Mm,
of. And I don't have any contact with them like anymore. But I just
mm.
remember back then, like that was really like a main staying point was, wow, you
Mm.
suck, you really suck. But you know what, your family
How
is
did that happen? Your
y-
family's great.
they spoiled her too much. Here's a weird thing. So two weird things. When I first started when she first started living with me, right? Two main things. Number one, she didn't know how a vacuum cleaner worked. She never had to do chores, so I had to teach her how the vacuum like you think this would be an obvious like chore that you learned when you're like 10 years old or whatever, not something you learn in your 20s, but I had to show her how the vacuum cleaner worked. And then number 2, I had to show her how the washer and dryer worked. Again, she had
Huh.
no idea about these. Third one too.
Well,
Microwave. She didn't know how the microwave worked either. She turned on
oh,
the microwave one time with nothing inside of it, just an empty microwave.
what? Oh
Yes,
no.
yes, I'm not fucking with you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Obviously, you survived.
she, yeah, she did not like the very basics of living,
Mm.
she didn't have, because her parents had always done it for her, and I think that's what has caused that's what caused, her cowardice, her lying behavior, her
Mm.
manipulations, her whatever. And it all came from that. But long story short, um,
Yeah.
I moved. Okay, so after that, I moved to Missouri, and I'll say, after my divorce in 2017 slash, so I was in Minnesota a bit for 2017 and dated then too.
And your family had moved down to
Like
Missouri,
20
right?
more
Because they
more than
were
20
originally
years.
all here, right?
Yeah, but more than
Yeah.
20 years ago. So they were all settled in
Yeah.
Missouri at the time. So yeah, so 2017, I explored the Minnesota dating scene, and that was good. There are some good people. 2018 in Missouri, oh my God, dude, my most prolific season. I probably dated over 20 people that year. And when I say
Mm.
dated,
So how did you meet these people?
oh yeah,
Like
dating
when
apps
you were
worked, and then so did like
okay.
Facebook groups. Like I would actually, like, people would host events, right? And I would go to
Hmm.
these events, and then yeah, you'd find these women, and yeah, they were all
Yeah.
more than willing. Um, and I don't want to say it like that. Maybe I shouldn't quite say they were more than willing. I mean, there were a lot of people who said no. Also, there are people not interested in me, but there was still like enough people who were, they were interested in me, and it, worked. Eventually, through lots of tribulations, I stopped all that bullshit with the dating apps and the social media groups and all of that.
Mm.
And I met my girlfriend who lives with me now actually through my brother who worked with her.
Hmm.
So all this time I've been wasting, money and doing whatever. I could have just reached out and just seen if
Yeah.
anyone knew someone else who was
Mhm.
single, and it worked out. It is working out great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's kind of how I met my ex-wife. Wasn't well, I mean, of course, I didn't. The dating apps, I think, or websites. They didn't have really apps too much in like the 2000s, but they did have like dating websites. They had dating services. I remember, I guess there were some services that would record you on like a VHS tape, and then if you
Hmm.
wanted to meet, what you can go into like the office and go through videotapes or whatever. But
I haven't heard
that
of
was that
that.
was back very different. I only know of that because my ex would watch. There was a show like a dating company service that their clients were millionaires. And so then I think they kind of had shown like some people had still been doing videotapes or whatever. Anyways, um, so or maybe I found out on a different Bravo show that she made me watch. But no, we met her cousin and her husband went to the same church I did. And my grandpa at the time had been trying to set me up on with like different women in the church. Like there's this one woman who was like 8 or 10 years older than me, and she was I I I I was like just the vibes I got from her. She'd be fine as a friend. I did not have any romantic interest to pursue with her, and so then her cousin and her husband came up to me and were like, "Hey, would you be willing to go out on a blind date with our cousin?" And I was like, "Only if it's a double date with you guys, because I'd feel because I just wanted to. I didn't know anything about her. And I just thought that having them there would be kind of a uh, make it a little easier. Like if there wasn't really any connection between me and my their cousin, my ex-wife, uh, then it would still there'd still be something fun going on. We could all just kind of hang out and whatever. And 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 actually, things went really well. Actually, no, they didn't, because I was kind of nerding out, whatever. Not nerding out, but I remember. So we were gonna go bowling at this place down by Lake Calhoun, which is in Minneapolis. It's like this, like the houses around that lake are all like $1 million homes. It's a very popular place for like walking. There's
Yep.
lots of like little
My
trails because there's a series of lakes down there,
Yeah,
and but
my grandpa had he's dead now, but he had a house
mm.
there. Yeah, so you're right,
So
million dollar house.
we went to the bowling alley and got there, and they're like, it's like an hour and a half wait to get in because I
Oh,
don't think you could make reservations. So we're like, well, let's go get some coffee at like Caribou Coffee, which I don't know if there's Caribou down where you're at, but I think that's a
yes.
Minnesota company.
No, no, they're here
But
too. They're here too.
are they?
Yeah.
But I think they're based in Minnesota. I don't know if they started here. I can't remember. But anyways, let me check my AI here. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, we were standing in line and waiting for our coffee, and there was this guy in line in front of us or behind us that I just started talking to, and my ex-wife thought I knew the guy because we were having a pretty in-depth conversation. I had a former coworker from a steel company. I did inside sales, and he's like, we were out at a company event, and he was totally trash. He's like, Thom is like, he put his arm around. He's like, this guy's the ultimate bullshitter.
Wow!
He can,
Whoa!
and our general manager and like a bunch of
Whoa!
management was there, and he's like,
Whoa!
this guy can talk to anybody about anything. And let me tell you about it. It's so, anyways. So I
Uh,
apparently I'm good at that.
that's kind
Good
of
enough.
a that is a backhanded compliment though. It's a
Yeah.
backhanded
Well,
compliment. He
he
can
did
tell
not.
he can say shit to
Well,
anyone.
he well no I guess so. He would try to copy me. So like, if there was like a lull in the phone conversation, like I was like maybe say putting a bid together and trying to get and there wasn't much talk going on.
Mhm.
I could feel the conversation. It's like, so you guys are out. You're in Washington State, right? And I just saw something about like this weather front coming in, and say, how are you guys doing with that? And then, so I could talk to people about like something as mundane as the weather and make it an interesting conversation.
Sure.
And I guess he would copy me. He would try to. He's like, so what's the weather like out there? Oh, okay. So so that's kind of,
So
so
he sort of
he didn't have that skill or what, I don't
he
know if
couldn't
that's
make
a
the
skill.
connection. He couldn't make the connection. He couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, so
What's
he
the
wasn't
weather like out there? Oh, it's cold,
so so
huh?
anyways, so I mean I wasn't really scoring many points on this blind date. And then we
Sure.
went out to we went back to the bowling alley. They're like, well, that's 2 hour wait now. And
Jesus.
we're like, ah, shit. So we decided to leave.
By the
Just a
goddess's
second here.
blood. Oh man.
And on the way, we were gonna just go home. And on the way back, there was a Mexican restaurant that we were driving by called Don Pablo's. And I think I saw my ex's cousin elbow her husband, and he's like, "Are you guys hungry?" So we stopped at Don Pablo's. We ordered food and had talked whatever. And I remember at the end of the night when the bill came, I saw my ex reaching for her purse, and I was like, "There's something I'm supposed to do here." I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to pay for her food," and so, but I was a little worried because she was this strong, independent woman, and would
And
she be offended if I
uh,
even
sh-
offered to pay for
and
it?
she
And I was
was
like,
your ex too, so
well, she is now, but I mean, that's
I mean,
uh, that. I mean, I'm not going to say anything negative about her because I had my own bullshit too. But
well,
so
you still shouldn't have to pay
so
for someone you're not with. I mean, that doesn't.
well, no, it was a date. So
Yeah. Okay.
I was raised that if a guy's taking a gal out on a date, he should at least offer to pay. Where I was out. Oh, so anyways, I offered to pay for her food, and she's like, okay, sure. And so I paid for her food. But so I was like, oh, fine. I remembered something. I did something right on that blind date. But anyways, talking about paying for food, there's another bullshit thing that sometimes I actually saw this happen. I was out with some friends. One of I think one of my buddies was getting married, and I think we had just done like the rehearsal dinner or whatever that night, or not the dinner, but like the rehearsal.
Sure.
And then we went out to this 50s style diner, not Denny's. It was an actual 50s style diner
Mhm.
up in by Brainerd, Minnesota. And we saw this couple. They were on a date, young, like maybe in their 20s, And at the end of their date, when the bill came, the guy said to the gal, he's like, I'm sorry, but I forgot my wallet. And
Classic. Okay.
and the look on the girl's face was like, "Are you shitting me?" And she's like, "Okay, well, somebody's got to pay for this." So she reached for her purse and whatever, paid for the food. Um,
Mm, not good.
don't do that. Don't.
I
We need
have.
that
Can I
is bullshit.
can I add a different? Let me add a different experience that I had.
Sure.
Her name. I'll say it anyways. She has a common enough name. Her name was Sarah. She was a toy or child psychologist in Kansas, right? And I took her out for dinner, and I ended up paying for everything, and it was like a $200 charge because
Holy crap.
we had drinks, we had appetizers, whatever. And I don't, how do I say it politely? Um,
Mm,
she it God, I hate to say it, like, because it's like it's not an expectation, right? But it did end up, being sexual. And my whole thought to like what everything was that because of that, or would that have happened if we had just split the check? Would that have also have had just happened? So
mm,
sometimes I think it's a little bit like, as a man,
yeah.
we're living in like we're living in
Mm,
a world where men are expected to take care of things. Like, we have the money, we have the power, we have whatever, so we can pay for everything. But at the same time, it's a false dichotomy because women are now making, equal or more money than us, dating us. And, they're obviously not, but at the same time, socially, they want a man to take care of them, right? They want the man to pay
mm,
for whatever, and it's like you have this low
mm,
paid male versus this highly paid female. I mean, and I'm not complaining. Like I'm good. I'm okay. Like myself right now, but I can see how that might be confusing to people where, we've been taught these things our entire life, but at the same time, it's like that's not the truth though anymore. It's not. Women
mm,
they are commanding higher and higher salaries, and for them to want to
mm.
go on a date where a lower what if this high powered executive lady goes on a date with a guy who's like a plumber or an electrician or something, and he doesn't make as much money as she does? Should he still have to pay for the whole bill? I mean, it's a good question, I think. I mean, should he have to pay for
I, I,
everything even though he
I
makes
think
way less money? I mean, that's
no, in a, I think in that kind of a scenario, we're talking like early days of dating, right? Going out on
sure.
like a first date or two. But if that's a concern that people have, I think it's on them to establish an agreement ahead of time. We're
Yeah.
going to this really expensive restaurant. If you're gonna like, for me personally, if I'm gonna take a gal out to a Ocean Air or McCormick and Schmick's, whatever, like those are like expensive restaurants here in Minneapolis, or M&S Grill, which is
Or
McCormick and Schmick's,
Ma-
but they're not as much seafood,
Manny's
whatever.
Manny's Steakhouse.
Manny's is a
Yep,
good
I've been there.
place,
Yep.
good steak.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, if I'm if I suggest that we go out to a place like that, then I think that for me, I would try to plan accordingly so I could pay for it. Now, if she wants to contribute, okay, she
What
can,
if it's her
whatever. But
idea? What if it's
if
her
it's
idea to go to the expensive restaurant? Then what? What do you do
is it
then?
my birthday?
Maybe it could be. Well,
I don't know.
let's just
If
say
it's
it.
my birthday, then it's probably a birthday
Okay,
present.
well,
But
let's say it's not your birthday, but it's her idea to go there. Who pays?
I'll ask her. Wait, is it my birthday already? It's like, no, I'm
Uh,
kidding. I don't know. I think you know what though. If you're going to an expensive restaurant, though, I think at that point you're probably in a more serious relationship and can have that conversation
sure.
about, okay, is this something that I'm paying for? Do we Are we splitting? Are we going halvesies? Is that a word anymore? Halvesies? That
Halvesies.
was in the 90s.
Going Dutch. I think it's called going Dutch.
Yeah, well, that's
Um.
the 80s term, but
So let's talk a little bit. I'm gonna just go through a couple little, if I can. Oh yeah, if I can keep my screen up.
we were going to talk about the Ravenloft stuff too, but
Yeah, we only have a few minutes for that too. But well, you and I, honestly, we could have a whole episode on Ravenloft. Um. All right, all right.
we
Let's
did. Well, almost.
and
We did the FMK stuff.
we could also have a whole whole conversation on what we're talking about right now too. So there's so many tangents out there. All right, just really quick here on Ravenloft. We'll go through it.
So we're moving on. Dating stuff is.
Let's just
If you don't care about Ravenloft, we're moving on.
let's just say about this
To
about
Ravenloft.
dating stuff. It's fucked up, but the best way to go is clear communication. As long as you are clearly
Yeah, yeah,
communicating the whole way, you should be fine against expectations, whatever else. But you need to be like, you need to tell the person like where you're at. You need to know where they're at, and sometimes that is like a tough conversation when we came from a world, women, well, not all women, but some women who are feminists hate the idea of the patriarchy, and and in that case, you know what, you shouldn't have to pay. If women are making, if they're executives, they're making, all kinds of
yeah.
extra money. Why should the man have to pay for half of, or more than half of his? It's just it's us moving out of a. It's no, you're no longer a chivalric, like a chivalry type knight. You're not the white knight who
Mhm.
sees the puddle in the madam's way and you throw down your cloak so she can walk across it, or whatever bullshit. That's not how it is anymore. Women can take care of themselves. Women vote. Women make their own money. Women can do all these other things. Men don't need to do those things for them anymore. However, they still might like it. They still might enjoy the treatment, like that. And that's, something, on an individual basis, an individual relationship basis, men and women are going to have to come to terms with how are things going
Yeah.
to work? How will it work? I mean, we
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You
But
got to come to an agreement if you're going to be in a serious relationship. Come to an agreement on those kinds of details. Or yeah, we're going out this week, but you know what? My paycheck, I had this come up, whatever, and then or I don't know, whatever. Just be open, honest, communicate. Like Mike said, communicate. Yeah, I think that was a big part of an underlying issue with like some of my relationship stuff was a failure to communicate, and things got bad, and we didn't communicate, and they got worse. So I mean, I think it will, that communication will solve, and honesty will solve issues at all various stages of a relationship, or at least help um, get you on the right path, anyways.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, so talk to your
So, anyways, that
partner.
got kind of deep.
If you got more questions about that, feel free to lodge them at us, and we'll talk about it in a further video. But
Yeah, because we are professionals in relationship
we are
issues.
we are not. You should see a counselor or a therapist if you need. But we are here still to listen. We are still here to do whatever.
And
Um,
also, if somebody wants to pay us to sell their shit on our show, we'll do that too. So,
we're yep. And
maybe a
anything really.
relationship book.
Yes, anything. Really, we're here for you. All right, so we're gonna talk about the next thing in the Dungeons and Dragons setting, known as Ravenloft. Thom and I have played quite a few campaigns. I would say at least six, about 5 to 6
Mhm.
each. I just want to show you for 5th edition, which is the newest edition. I have all the information
Uh,
pretty much in Ravenloft right here.
Yay!
I have from 3.5. I
Oh, I
have
remember that book. I
that's a
remember
great
that book.
it's a great book. And then for 2nd edition, oh my god,
Do you have first edition too?
no, it didn't come out in 1st edition. It came out second.
Oh, it didn't.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
they didn't have Ravenloft till 2nd edition. But here it is. Oh, where did I pick it up? There you
Oh,
go.
damn.
I got a
So
lot of
real
shit.
quick, I think it might be worth mentioning.
Woo.
So for people who aren't familiar with so like Ravenloft or Dungeons and Dragons, so Dungeons and Dragons was heavily inspired by like Lord of the Rings. So think of if you don't know Dungeons and Dragons, just think of Lord of the Rings. So you had like wizards, you had like the different races, like the dwarves, the elves, the humans, demons, devils, whatever. Um, and they then Ravenloft is it's a setting in Dungeons and Dragons. It's like another like uh, dimension or whatever, but where the rules of the world, like physics and all that, are governed by like evil and stuff like that. If you have like an evil intention and you don't have any magic, you can still cause like supernatural things to happen. So, um, healing doesn't work the same, or maybe it does now. I don't know. But back, I think in third edition, I think that healing maybe did half as much healing or so. I don't. I think it was all affected, right? But so
I think
that's kind of so
so.
Ravenloft is kind of like Lord of the Rings, except it's more like
Well, let me
influenced by the evil whatever stuff.
let me kind of explain. And it's a good explanation, but let me explain a little bit more. It is the demi plane of dread. There are
Okay.
hundreds of these separate little demi planes. Like Thom was saying, they all have their own rules on magic, on physics, on how things work, etc. Every one of
Mm,
them is different. However, there is one similarity. Every demi plane has a Dark Lord. The Dark Lord is both the jailer and the prisoner. The people who are there are stuck with, and you can read more about
mm,
it in the fifth edition book. Like why some people don't have souls, like why they're just there. They're not actually like any. They pretty much are props. They're not like real people. But
mm,
anyways, but long story short, every one of them has a Dark Lord, and the Dark Lord did something so horrible, so whatever, that the mists, and that's the other thing, the mists of Ravenloft came in, sucked them to the realm. They cannot escape it. There is nothing they can
mm,
do to leave. They continue to
mm,
try to do so. They continue and again against what we call the dark powers. The dark powers, they could be gods, they could be metaphysics, they could be a lot of different things. It's not really
mm.
known like what they are. But that's like the thing is like,
Another,
oh, go ahead.
yeah. Well, I was going to say another thing with the mists. So you mentioned that they're like demi-planes. I always kind of viewed it as they're all kind of on the same plane, but they have like a realm that is theirs. And the Dark Lord, I forgot about this until you mentioned the mists. The Dark Lord can raise or lower the mists around his realm, so it's either enabling or inhibiting traffic between his realm or his or her or their realm and any others. Right? Is that still the case?
It
I know that
is,
wasn't third
it is,
edition.
but there are a people known as the Vistani. Um,
Okay,
in modern
the like
terms,
gypsies, right?
but that's where we're not allowed to say that word anymore.
Oh,
You
we're not.
can't say
Damn
gypsy
it.
anymore. That's racist or something. So anyway, instead you have to say traveling folk. Usually they're humans or halflings, but yes, they travel around through the mists. They're the only ones who can go from demi-plane to demi-plane without a problem. But you're right, like different different demi-planes will have different things. Like they could raise a poisonous cloud. They could raise a cloud with the desert wind where you get lost and you just get turned around and go back to wherever you started from. There's all kinds of things like that, I guess. Um,
Barriers.
but
Okay.
it's
Okay.
fun though. Like it's a really fun
Yeah.
experience. If you like horror RPGs and you like Dungeons and Dragons, Ravenloft is definitely the way to go. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like where it is. So, in my opinion. But,
And I'm trying to remember back when it was during third edition, I was reading an article about good movies that I think would be good to watch if you wanted to run a Ravenloft game. One of them was May, which we've kind of discussed. I think The Others was on the list.
okay.
Um, oh, The Others. I mean, May I didn't really like too much because it was too depressing. But The Others, holy crap! And we talked about that movie right a couple weeks ago. But
We did.
rewatching it was, or maybe it was more than a couple weeks ago. But rewatching it was Oh, what a joy that
are
wa- people watch it. But
are
so
you
you if
mad?
you
I am your daughter.
say,
I am
she
your
tried to
daughter.
kill me.
She tried to kill me.
so but I mean, so if you if you if you'd like to get a taste for say like what Ravenloft might be, but you don't really want to sit down and play the game, you can watch a movie like the others or May, and you can get an idea. Because like with May, at the end of May, because we I was talking about how your actions and intentions can inform reality. So at the end of May, there's like no magic, as I recall, in that show at
Mm,
all, right?
no,
But at the end,
not really.
she goes ballistic, murders all her friends, and takes the physical pieces that she likes from them, and makes a Frankenstein's monster. And
Stabs
then
herself in the eye.
the
Yeah.
thing with her character, she had this lazy eye that they mentioned on the back of the video in the description. She takes her eye out and puts it in the monster. And as you see her in the background, I think kind of lying down, like dying, I'm guessing, the creature, the body, the Frankenstein's monster sits up. So her actions and intentions created a supernatural creature. Oh, spoilers, by the way.
Spoilers, because if you play Promethean, they created, they're called demiurges, and demiurges can create
Yeah,
Prometheans. Anyways, um,
yeah.
they have rules for that.
But the movie May, I don't think really even hinted at supernatural stuff, if I remember correctly. I've only
Not
seen
until
it the
the
one
end.
time.
Yeah, I believe you are correct. Not until the very end is there anything supernatural. Everything was just her like twisted, like her reality was going on. Um, but
By the way,
yeah,
I didn't like that movie, but I think that it was a well written and well
for
directed
what it was,
movie.
for what
It
they
was
wanted to do with it, I think they did it. Like what they
yeah,
wanted to do with it, I think that was accomplished. I think what people saw was not necessarily something
something that they
people.
could. Most people can't connect. It's got a niche
Yeah,
audience. One
yeah,
of the Red
definitely.
Letter Media guys I think really likes it. But anyways,
But yeah, Ravenloft. Yeah, God, we would, and just to jump back, I have had some conversations over the last week, a little bit about paid DMs and professional DMs, and
mhm.
Tom, I know you'll be happy to hear. I have volunteered yours and I's services for anyone who wants to play a free version, as long as it works with our timing, as long as it works with our schedule. But we'll see. No one has signed up yet, so it's not like it's like that. But I'm just saying, like, it is getting, and maybe we'll have another conversation in our next
Was this
video
on
about it.
Facebook or
Yeah,
where have you been having these conversations?
Facebook groups
Oh, okay.
mostly, where this one lady specifically, she said, I'm not very experienced with D&D, but let me do whatever. And she printed off this description. I ran that through ChatGPT, and they said it was almost certainly an AI generated description. And she said, "Oh, she only wants $1 per player per session." And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I think
well,
you mentioned that.
it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you you right now? Are you fucking with us? I mean, you think you deserve? Uh, this person does not have any idea about how the game works. Either that, or I'm such an old man that I've lost contact with how the game works.
Yeah,
Though I doubt that. But I
I
mean,
will say.
just want
Uh,
money for it.
I'm not. So I'm kind of maybe about an intermediate level experience with maybe say like the fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons. But one thing I like about that is there's a website. Crap, what's it called? The
D&D Beyond.
Yeah, D&D
Beyond,
Beyond.
yeah.
So you don't if you want to run a game, if you can come up with like a good story, you don't have to know all the rules.
Yeah.
You can just because if you don't know how to build a character, it just takes you through the steps. You just enter the information that they ask for, and it builds a character for you. If you don't know what a skill does, you look at your character sheet. You just click on the skill. It tells you what it does. Same thing with magic, with monsters, all that crap. So if you want to get into like DMing or whatever, that's a great tool. I know some of our friends that we role play with, they don't like fifth or D&D specifically because combat combat
Yeah.
can take a long time.
Well, it's
So
not only
especially
that.
if you have like druids or whatever, but or magic
My
casters,
bigger
whatever.
my bigger issue is the audacity, the arrogance of these people thinking that they could just get paid for running a game that me and my friends who have been running games for each other for years have done so freely, and you want to fucking sit here and ask for money to run a game? It's like that's not, and
And,
especially like with this
yeah.
lady specifically, she was running it all through ChatGPT. She was using ChatGPT to make descriptions and decide how the game was working, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I
Are you?
The
I
only
don't know.
thing I might use AI for, so I would come up with the story, but if I'm not really good sometimes with descriptions, so I might like if I wanted to describe a landscape, I might ask, give like the prompts to like an AI and say, hey, I want to create this scene, create a description based on this stuff. Um, but that's but the content otherwise, like the plot, the crux of the story, whatever, all that I would come up with on my own. I would maybe just
but
use it to help me embellish on the details.
but how much would you charge to your players for that?
Oh, well, I'm just talking about games that I run. I don't charge people. It's like
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I
That's a major
didn't pay for the
difference.
fucking IT either. It's like I mean
That's the
IT, I mean
difference.
the AI, whatever. But
That's the difference,
I
I think. So.
so or I might. Oh, can I tell you about the only time I think I ever cheated in college?
Ooh.
So I was working downtown Minneapolis, commuting, 5 days a week, riding the bus. So I worked an 8 hour shift with a half hour for lunch, and it was about an hour both way, one way, downtown and back, plus having to wait for the bus. Um, and then I'd get home, I'd be exhausted. My kids were like really young, and they would want to wrestle. And then by the time they went to bed, I was like, oh man. And then I was doing online classes, getting I did both my bachelor's and master's degree online. My ex-wife taught at the college I went to, so I got I didn't have to pay tuition. So I called her my friend with benefits.
Ooh.
And so, but anyways, so I mean, I had to pay admin fees and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm not. I mean, people go, what? I'm not complaining about that. So, um, but anyways, and then I was also DJing on the weekends. So which would be like a 12-hour day plus or minus, sometimes more, because I might have to travel a long distance for it. But so I remember this one week, the way the class was set up was there was a topic you had to post on the group chat about, and then you had to respond, and that was due by like Thursday or no, or Wednesday I think, and then you had to respond to at least two other people's posts by Sunday night, and then there was an assignment due, like by 11:59 p.m. Sunday night, and it was actually uh, we were supposed to find somebody famous or whatever and do like a research paper on them. And I had no energy. I'd had no time or whatever to actually sit down and put this together because I just had no energy. And so 11 o'clock p.m., after the kids were tucked in, I sat down, found an article about JFK's high school and early college years on Wikipedia.
Oh. Just kidding. Wikipedia is pretty
I
accurate, but yeah.
I and yeah, and at that point in time, I think there was still a little bit of a question about the accuracy. But what I did was I rewrote it in my words. I just typed in the stuff from the article. I just rewrote it the way I might have said it, and then I used the exact same sources. And Word had a thing you could use to put in your references. So you could do in-text citations, and then you had your reference page at the end,
Sure.
which I used that for all of my assignments. And I submitted
All
the paper at like
all AP
what's that?
all APA, right? APA.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the one thing I knew because my ex had was a teacher there was that they would take your assignment and paste it into this program that would look for
Cheating.
plagiarism.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were allowed like a certain percent of like say quotes and stuff like that, but you had to cite your source. So I did all the citations and then put all those into the Word application, and then did the in-text citations, did the citation page, whatever that's called, the reference page or whatever, and I got an A plus and a comment from the teacher who said, "I went to that school. I knew all of this shit. I knew all those stories." I was like, "Holy crap!" I lucked out on that.
Oh
It's
man.
like,
Yeah.
but anyway, so that was the only time I ever cheated in college. In high school, I had less successful attempts to cheat, and so I didn't really cheat very often. So,
Well, all right. We are where we are at. We would love it if you subscribe, like, dislike, comment, share, whatever. We would appreciate
ring the
all of
bell.
it. Ring the bell. If you have something you want us to drink, if you have a topic you want us to talk about, let us know. We'll definitely consider all takers. In the somewhat future here, in the next 4 days, we're actually going to be having an interview with Aunt Lainey of Aunt Lainey's Kitchen. Also, we're going to do it in the Discord format, but we're going to be talking about her. So kind of
Mm-hmm.
look forward to that.
I'm
But
looking for. She's a cook, or
she's a
her
home
show is
cook.
like cooking.
She's a home
So
cook.
home
Yeah.
cooking. I'm looking forward to it because
Oh
I've been
yeah.
getting more and more into home cooking, and I previewed a little bit of one of her videos. I got to go back and finish it, but she seems like a really nice person. I'm really excited to talk to her. See if she has any like funny stories about Mike learning how to use kitchen knives.
Yeah. We'll see if she
Guess that's
remembers.
how they met in a class about how to use kitchen knives. But or at least that's what Mike says. We'll see what she has to say
Maybe
on
maybe
this Saturday when we interview her.
luckily, hopefully a stabbing will not happen. But anyways, hopefully I won't end
No
up stabbed.
backstabbing, at least. It's like,
But all right.
but
Well, if there's anything else you guys wanted to hear from us, just let us know. But on that note, have a great night. Bye.
good night.